February is American Heart Month, but you can approach it through the lens of holistic and alternative medicines. And we're going to be talking about natural ways to support your cardiovascular health and also the emotional connection to heart health that most people don't talk about. And we're going to be dealing with that right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Paton, and joining us as usual, Martin Patella, health engineer. Hey, Martin, how are you doing today?
Trying to say hello with my eyebrows alone. It's amazing.
Okay, it's not working.
Oh, damn. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am fine.
Much better, much better.
Please
All
subscribe.
Right.
Scott, this is just such an important thing. Folks, right now you don't have a reason to, but at the end of this show, we'll remind you again. And I promise that we will be every bit as good every week because we show up full on. Scott.
George says, nice haircut. Thank you very much. I got a trim yesterday, so this is like brand new. And we'll see how many weeks it takes for it to grow out and I become the bushy mountain man again. So, Martin, before we get going, anything new in your life that you want to share?
Oh, Scott, there are so many things new. I don't know where to begin. Do you have any particular suggestion?
No, I was going to say I'm in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Okay. And if you've been watching the news, you'll know that Mexico has had a huge eruption of burning cars and buses and stuff, OXXO stores, which are like 7-Eleven here. But it's over on the other coast. It's not on this coast. So we're basically, how far away would it be? It would be like from LA to Phoenix or Dallas away, so it's not like it's happening way over there. It's a different cartel. Everything is fine here. You had dangerous. George says, well, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, thank you, Kevin. He says, stay safe. I am safe. No problem. I figure the number one thing to being safe is don't be out at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night. And that's like number one. Number two, if things are going really crazy, just stay home which means always have some extra food around because you never know when crazy things are going to be happening. And but here it's a beautiful sunny day. Everybody is happy. Everybody's working. There's nothing going on that's untoward. And I believe Puerto Vallarta has calmed down a lot as well. So I have some friends that are there and close to it, but not to worry.
I'm thinking that it might be more likely to die of a heart attack than of a stray bullet from a cartel street shootout. Although,
absolutely.
Yeah, that. I wouldn't want to be part of that conflict right now. It's really rough, living in a country where making a living is really hard. And there's this seduction of this market. And I think it's us, the Americans, who are buying the stuff that are creating the problem that's happening in Mexico. Right? It's the drugs. All we have to do is stop buying it. And Mexico will heal itself and become a loving agricultural community where everybody's just fine.
Well, most of Mexico is a loving agricultural community where everything is just fine. And I think this is one of the things that happens when you're in like the North American bubble versus the Mexican bubble, because we're in totally different bubbles, and I would have a significantly different take on that. And that is that if the people in the United States and Canada, would get rid of the gangs and would get rid of the fentanyl labs that they have and would stop pouring drugs over the US border into the United States, it would make a significant difference. And people in Canada would be much happier. But, so a lot of the news I see is, problems that I associate with drug abuse. And also it's become more and more difficult to make money in Canada. So people are like, oh, maybe I can do a little something on the side. And of course, the gangs say, yeah, become a mule for us. And we always need someone to go over the borders.
We pay well. We pay well.
Yeah. And if you get 10 years in jail, well, that's, part of the cost of doing business.
But
today
it's a paid vacation, Scott.
It's a paid vacation. Yeah. And who knows if you have a life when you get out. Today's episode is going to be a little bit more on the mental and the spiritual aspect of the heart. And with that in mind, I want to recount a time when I was in New Westminster, which was the former capital of British Columbia. It's a suburb of Vancouver, and it's an incredibly dangerous part of the city, although I didn't know that when I was living there. And I remember walking down one of the streets, and on either side were like World War II houses. They're boxy, they're square, they're not very big. Working class people are living in it. And there was nobody else on the street. It was about 8 o'clock at night. And I'm walking along, it just sort of, being with me. And there are sirens going down this way. There are sirens going down that way. There are sirens going this way and that way and all over, not on my street. So I stopped for a second. I thought, wow, like there is chaos all around, because it was 3, 4, 5 fire trucks, ambulance, police, woo. And I thought, I have created a bubble of safety. And this is like mentally and spiritually, consciously, because I do this. I have this bubble that I put over myself, and anything that's, evil and bad, whatever, you're on the other side of the bubble and you can't touch me. And I never had, this is like 20 years ago, I never had such a feeling of that bubble of protection the way that I had it at that moment, right? Because there was chaos, you could hear it, but you couldn't see it. It was perfectly calm, serene, zen on my street that I was walking on, right? And I remember dating a gal, and she said to me, Scott, I can't come to your apartment anymore. I said, why? She says, there's too many drugs, and I'm a former drug addict. It's just too tempting. I go, what are you talking about? So she takes me to the balcony, and she says, see that car? Yeah. Well, there's a drug deal going on right there. And as she's talking, the guy rolls down his window. Another guy walks out of the back door of the building, hands him something, takes something, and goes back in. And then she says, see that guy over there? I go, yeah. There's another drug deal. And sure enough, some guy walks by, they stop and chat at each other, they hand each other something, and they go off. And she was right, but I was totally oblivious to it because that's not my world, right? And so sometimes I think if we take the time and and I do this for my family and for you, Martin, and all of Vancouver, all of British Columbia, I don't think it works at the macro level as well as I would like it to, because there's other spiritual things going on, not just me, right? Like I'm not omnipotent or any of that sort of stuff. But
well, let me butt in with this. Transcendental Meditation founder Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, when he was still alive, asked his devotees or students to meditate on Washington, D.C. at a specific time. And it was something like 2,000 people. And crime in Washington, D.C. had a significant blip down, like very significant blip down, when they put their focus of their bubble of peace, if you will, or whatever you want to call it,
whatever
directed in a specific place. So yeah, totally works.
Happens, and it's been repeated many times. Like there's been like days of peace where tens of thousands of people around the world. I mean, it doesn't take 90% of the population or even 10% of the population to have a really good positive impact. And whether it is factually, scientifically true or not is irrelevant, because I'll tell you, you feel a lot better. And that's sort of the bottom line.
So I want to butt in with, the core of this problem that we have out there with crime and issues really is emotional wellness. And I think it's people who are so emotionally distraught that they want to not feel. Give me something to stop this.
Right.
And they usually reach for one of those calming drugs like fentanyl or whatever. I mean, that's the extreme one, but they'll use that. And it's going to help them not feel. And
Or could it help them feel bliss? Is that the other side of it? I feel
heroin does that.
terrible.
Heroin does
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Anandamide does it, which is, you usually get that from eating baked goods like bread and cake.
Right.
Yeah. That's why we get so fat, because we keep hitting the bliss note by overdoing cake. Yeah.
So this brings up an interesting question. Like, how much of this discomfort or the bad feelings people don't want to feel, in this, taking your example, comes from poor decisions that people make versus the environment, right? Because we all hear about people that were in very, very bad homes, their dad beat them like crazy or whatever, and then they became multimillionaires, or they became drug addicts. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, I've heard some stories of multimillionaires where I go, man, I wish my childhood was that bad, because that would have given me the impetus to do what this guy did and become super, successful in
Yeah, and here goes, right? So we have these two types of nervous systems. I would say one is like the turtle, and one is more like a guard dog or something like that. Anyway, one perceives, it's at the introversion versus extroversion. The introvert enters the room, and the first question asks, is this safe? Where is the safe spot where I can go so I can see the whole room and be fine? And the extroverted approach to entering the room is, hi guys, I'm here. Who wants to dance with me? It's complete opposite, right? Like, one
Right.
enters the room and the room owns him. The other one enters the room and owns the room. So that's the starting point, right? So you have either a highly sensitive nervous system or highly, I don't know what, unsensitive or non-threatened, low vibe, high vibe. So that's the first part.
That happened to me. Like, when I was a kid, a teenager, I came up from the basement where my bedroom was, went into the living room. My mom and dad are sitting where they always sit, and they were reading a book like they usually do. I go, hello, hello. I don't even know if they responded or not. And I went into the kitchen, made myself some breakfast, and then I went in the backyard. Perfectly nice June afternoon on a Sunday, right? 20 minutes later, my sister comes down, goes into the same room, says hi to everybody. I don't know what happened, and then she comes outside and she says, oh my God, Scott, mom and dad are going to get divorced. I'm going like, what? Yeah, like, they are so mad at each other. It's like, for her, it was like hitting an iceberg when she walked into the room. The icy cold, she was just totally tuned into it. And yeah, they were mad at each other. They weren't mad at each other enough to get divorced or anything like that, but they were mad.
They argued.
And I was like, oh, the sun is shining. My feet are in the grass. It's a good day.
Right. So there we go. So what do we have here? So we have some people who are clearly having a hard time with reality. For some people, the pressure is the impetus to overcome. For another person, that same pressure is the impetus to crumble and wither, right? What do you know? I guess we have a choice, right? We have a choice. I remember my choices. I was a weak kid. I was beat on and whatever, right? Like, I was the kid that was too smart to shut up, and the other kids didn't like me. They just and let me know hard.
Right.
But then at some point I grew up, and turned out that I was the successful one relative to them. The popular kids. The most popular kid in my grade 6 to 9 died as an alcoholic by jumping in front of a moving train.
Oh no.
His choice. Yeah, bad life, right?
So, like we say, his choice, is it really like it's not a conscious choice? I mean, so it's obviously a conscious choice if you step in front of a moving train, right? I mean, you don't accidentally do that, but that process that takes you there is, to me, it's kind of like you're going down a slippery slope and you didn't realize it was muddier than it was. You didn't realize how muddy it was. So now all of a sudden you're sliding all the way down and you end up in the creek at the bottom. But, what can people do to change those lives around?
So we're making choices every day, every breath you take, right? Every time you have a thought, you have a choice of either gratitude or grief. What's it called? Grievance, right?
Yeah.
That's choice. Yeah. Choice. Every input, you get to decide whether this is bad news or good news. You know that story about the farmer? He has a son.
Yeah, and his son and the horse and
the son.
Well, you should tell the story for those that haven't heard it. It's a great story.
This way. A farmer has a female horse, and the female horse is in estrus, and as wild stallion comes by, and the female horse runs away with him somewhere. And the neighbor says, "Oh my God, what terrible news. What bad luck you have." And the farmer responds with, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" Well, 3 days later, the mare is back in the corral with the wild horse and pregnant. Well, we don't know it yet, but she was. Well, anyway, so the farmer's son is trying to break in that wild stallion. And in the process, gets thrown off the horse and mangles his leg. Just can't walk. And the neighbor says, "Oh my God, what a bad luck. What a terrible thing." And farmer says, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" 3 days later, the gendarmes come through the village, taking every able young man to fight for the emperor. All of them are drafted, except this poor cripple who can't march. Good luck, bad luck, who knows?
Right. Yeah, we never know till later on, do we?
Yeah.
It feels to me like there's a lot of people that I've met in poorer countries who really feel like, to me, they look like they're very, very stuck in their poverty. And one of the things that I notice is two things I notice. One is they don't really give, right? Like they're not givers. I'm not going to say like they're takers, but they want stuff, but they're not really necessarily willing to think about, well, what can I do to make, like, can I borrow 20, can I have $20 from you, Martin? And they don't think, well, Martin, I need $20. And like, can I wash your car? Right. They just like, give me the money. Give me. Yeah. Right. And they're the same way. I've known them for like 8 or 9 years in my travels when I go back to the same place.
They're still the beggars, right? They're still not value contributors. They're just simply a beggar.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? The millionaires that I have ever met, they say, well, people come to me asking of my time. The ones that get my time come with a proposal, with a creation that they have put a lot of energy into, that they have facilitated, and they come to me saying, listen, I do need your collaboration, but here's what I have created. Here's a plan how we could take my time and your money and make something of it.
Right.
Those get the attention.
Yeah. And I think that works on all levels.
Yeah. So you just mentioned that wash my car, right? Yeah. Scott, would you like me to carry your bags for you?
Yeah. Or what do you need help with? Like, what's going on? And you'd say it better than I just said it. And I think the other thing is they don't spend any time thinking about, like, what is their goal, right? Like, my goal is to, I mean, aside from, I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, they're great.
Yeah.
You can't even make $10.
Yeah, but why would you want $1 million? That's the point.
Right.
What will you do with it if you had it? I mean, it's
drugs.
Always a means to something. A number is such a useless thing.
Right. So they don't often have a strong
Why?
goal that drives them through the tough times.
The why. Yeah, the why. The how is always secondary to the why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you have the big enough why, nothing can stop you.
There we go. And so that goes right back to the heart health. People who are stuck living a life without a why are usually emotionally distraught. They are just in motion doing stuff. And that's what this is about. I remember Tony Robbins teaching this in Date with Destiny, where you need to figure out what you're going to be when you grow up and how you're going to leave this world when you leave it.
Yeah. Is it a better place or not?
Yeah. And if you have a why, then just about anything is okay. In fact, man's search for meaning, Frankl, he writes in it, the people who survived the concentration camp were those who had a reason to get through it.
There was an amazing movie called A Beautiful Mind, I think it was called. And it was this guy who had his son in a ghetto in, I think it was Warsaw during World War II. And it was an Italian comedian who was the main character.
That was called A Beautiful Life.
Beautiful
Vita
Life.
E Bella. And
yes.
it was in Italy. And yes, and on and on. Anyway, the story is incredibly compelling because the man was able to create a reality that defied the circumstance.
Yeah. Because he wanted to protect his son, and everybody who were also prisoners, bought into all that. They all helped. And his son didn't know that he was in a ghetto, a prisoner, and that they would kill him if they found him.
Yeah.
And then a shocking ending, which I'm not going to spoil.
The ending is shocking. Everybody should rent that movie.
A Beautiful Life.
Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful. Yeah, life is beautiful. Oh, it was so good. So let's talk about the heart chakra. Like a lot of times in Chinese medicine, they have different chakras, different energy centers. The heart chakra, of course, is the one that governs love and connection and forgiveness.
You're definitely good at mixing metaphors, Scott. I need to jump in. So chakras is an East Indian or Indian concept, yoga related. Concept. And the Chinese concept talks about the meridians, which are these energy circuitry that runs through the body. And it is related. No, not that it's not, but
this is why you're the expert and I'm the one that tells stories. So people talk about the heart chakra being blocked. What do they mean by that?
Okay, so you have these 7 centers, 7, 6, 5, 4 heart. Yeah. Well, okay, if energy is not flowing through the circuitry, if they're blocked, then it's stuck. And lack of flow is life force blocked and pain. And then, of course, chakras, they usually talk about whether they're spinning in the right direction or whether they're not spinning.
Right.
And either way, what it means is that energetically you are stuck. You're not in a flow. And there's the yin and the yang, the in and the out, the expand and contract, the male force expanding, the female force drawing in. You have to exhale, and then you have to inhale, because it's the exchange in the environment. Food, eat it, poop it, You know, and on and on. I mean, I can give you 20 different examples of the dynamic balance within which things work. Life is an exchange. One creature's poop is the next creature's fertilizer.
Right.
Yeah. All of this.
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, so when you have something that you're grieving, or you resent somebody, or you get dumped by your significant other, these can lead to a lot of tension, and those are sort of things that are blocked. And really the only way to get through that is, have you processed that grief? Have you given forgiveness where you're withholding it? Do you feel deeply connected to people or not deeply connected? Which actually reminds me of a retreat I went to, and there's a whole bunch of, it was outside, it was near Whistler, and there was a group of about 7 or 8 of us. There was I don't know, 50 to 100 people in the whole retreat, but they broke us into smaller groups, and we did this exercise. And to me, what I could feel was everybody's walls. That's how I interpret it, right? I'm not connected to you, Martin, because I feel this wall between us. And the reason it was all coming up is we were climbing over a wall, right? And I could really feel 7 walls. And I said, yeah, I feel really disconnected because there's these walls. And everybody said, no, Scott, we really feel connected to you. You're not feeling the wall, you're feeling us. I was like, wow. So we interpret things certain ways, right? And everybody's different. Maybe they really were walls, and they thought it was connected and they weren't. Or maybe I'm wrong and it wasn't a wall, and it was actually I'm feeling their spirits. So, who knows? But the point being that what they thought and what I thought were diametrically opposite, although we were discussing the same thing. And, you may be deeply connected to somebody and not feel it, or you may feel it, right? I mean, it depends on awareness and interpretation.
Yeah, this reminds me of how the military tried to take advantage of telepathic communication. Turns out that it's super easy. Telepathic communication is doable and possible by dropping your boundaries, by dropping your fences. So yes, you and I can connect, but I have to open to you. You have to open to me. Well, right. That's not the military mode. They always want to attack and stay safe. They want to stay locked while getting inside of you. Not how it works.
Doesn't happen. Yeah, they want to be behind barricades that protect them with a little hole where they can shoot out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No. So let's go over some of the tools. So, you've been listening to us. We've been talking about the heart. We've been talking from an energetic, spiritual, emotional perspective, as opposed to, an herbal or eating or drinking perspective. Some of the tools for emotional healing could be journaling. I talk a lot about journaling when you're eating, but writing things down, writing a letter. So if you're really upset with somebody and you write it down, everything, and and then you get it out of you. And then there's a really important step, which I recommend, which is burning the letter. Because, people say, put it that, burn it out. No, it's so that nobody else can read it. Because once you get it, in my experience, once I get it out, the energy is all neutralized and everything else. I'm not mad. I'm content. But I was a teenager and I wrote that letter because I was so mad, and I forgot about it the second I finished, and it ended up under my bed. And my mom's cleaning my room, and she finds this letter under my bed, weeks later, and it's really, she's devastated, right? Because there's nothing in it that's nice.
Every grievance all spilled.
So she talks to my dad, and my dad says, what the hell? And I go, oh, where'd you find that?
Yeah.
So I says, I'm good now. I wrote it. I got it all out. I'm fine. And so the reason you burn it is so nobody can read it. And then meditation. I don't think we do enough meditating. Or do you want to chat about that?
I want to comment on it. This is a form of confession. Back in the old days, when people went to church and see a priest, they would confess. They would tell the priest the story. The poor priest heard all the crap and had to sublimate it, but that's where it went. And then in the modern days, you hire yourself a
Therapist.
confessional, a therapist, which anyway, it doesn't solve problems, but it sure gets it off your chest.
Right. And then meditation is another good thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Go into an altered state. Sound healing is something I did for years. I had a crystal bowl, played the crystal bowl. I went to a crystal bowl meeting for 18 months with 10 other people.
Yeah.
And that person had 7 crystal bowls. It was amazing. And I think even if she never played the crystal bowls, we were just quiet for an hour and a half, right? Like in your day. How often does that happen, right?
Mm.
And then one of my favorites is the EFT tapping, where you tap, find an EFT practitioner who's really good, and you can you can release a lot of this stress.
Yeah, get it out of it. Mm-hmm.
And inner child work was the other one. I don't know very much about that.
So many different things. I did a ton of kinesiology, releasing.
Oh yeah, kinesiology, muscle testing, right?
Yeah, but working through the concept, like every circuit of your body has attachment to a specific emotion. There's a map, I can probably fish it out here on my system. Like we use this thing that's loaded in my cell phone. It's called AO Scan, and the AO Scan system has in it the checking of the chakras and checking of the circuits. By the way, we do provide it to people. Anyone who wants to get tested or scanned, we have the initial scan and then the ongoing scan, in-depth scan. All of that's available. And golly gee, you can get help energetically, subtle energies.
Right.
Anyway, it wouldn't take too long. It exists. It's here. It's possible. Like, for example, your lung circuitry will probably relate to regrets or grief. And your liver will probably have something to do with anger and suppressed anger and that sort of thing. And so on.
Awesome.
Yeah, somebody in your office, Scott, decided to talk louder than you need to.
They just decided I got to put my mute on. But we wanted to talk about the heart chakra, Ormus and the heart chakra, and we have a product about that. I want to bring it up.
Yeah. In fact, the Ormus Oils company with whom we work has 7 chakra products. And so they have one for all of the chakras. This one is specifically to balance the heart chakra. So we have something for all 7. But there we go. Yeah. And it's available in lotions, in mists, and oils. So you can either spray it on or rub it on or massage it on. And it's, super useful. Energy work. It should never be not considered.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, it's the
I don't know what to tell you other than everybody has issues and everybody needs to work through them. And when you get damaged emotionally or energetically, it has to get cleared. Otherwise, problems develop.
Yeah. So, Martin, we know that lack of exercise affects the heart. We know that eating the wrong foods affects the heart. What, I don't want to say percentage, but how important is our emotional and spiritual health to our heart?
It's a lot like the iceberg. The physical manifestations are just a part above the waterline. The emotional stuff is the iceberg part below the waterline. 80 or 90% causation of all health problems are subtle, emotional, unconscious issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to access, supremely important.
Right. And we don't spend any time on it because rather than doing that, we watch Netflix because, hey, there's a blockbuster thriller horror movie that just launched.
Lovely. Scare me.
That can't harm the heart at all, can it?
I don't know. I tell my wife at the end of the day, I have no patience or use for shows that try to trigger my adrenals into pumping cortisol. I'm just not interested. No, thanks. I've already had enough cortisol events throughout the day.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me watch a show that's a soothing walk through the forest with a dog.
So, Martin, if we have too much cortisol, does that mean we're going to put on weight?
Well, heck yeah. Here's how. When cortisol hits, which is the release, cortisol is released by stress response. And that causes your body to say fight or flight. So if you don't exercise it away, all of that glucose that has been pushed into circulation has to be removed. And to remove it, it has to go into belly fat.
So watch horror movies, watch thrillers, watch stuff that gets you all stressed out, and while sitting and eating potato chips, and now you have a perfect storm. Yeah. And your heart is not healthy because it's been attacked on the physical level, the emotional level, the spiritual level,
yeah,
and whatever other levels there are.
Yeah. All right, Scott, we keep talking, but we're well past our cutoff.
We are. And I was going to ask you, Martin, is there any last words before we sign off?
Well, so we have herbal tinctures in the store and adaptogenic products in the store. You know, the adaptogens like rhodiola will help you clear stress, and ashwagandha will help you build resilience, and the heart tincture will help you rebuild a heart muscle that's been damaged. Like, there are all kinds of things that you can access. You just need to talk to one of us to give you some guidance, because doing it on your own, you'll be confused. You know, it's talk to a health coach. There's just so much leverage in talking to somebody who actually knows stuff, as opposed to you just trying to work it through by touching the whole thing with your eyes closed.
Yeah, so head over to www.life-enthusiast.com and you'll see how you can contact Martin and his team of coaches and talk to them about what's going on with you, because obviously we're talking about global things. We're not talking about things that are specific to any individual, and we are all individuals with different needs and requirements.
Yep.
So with that, Martin, thank you very much for joining us, taking time out of your busy day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We love you. Join us every Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific. We're live. We'd love to get your questions. Don't forget, if you've got some value out of this, or you think you know somebody that needs to hear it, share it. Give us some give us some subscribes. And actually now on YouTube, you can actually hype it. So give us a hype. And with that, thanks for joining us, everybody. You've been listening and watching the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
My body's a temple, but the walls are cracked. Stuck in the rubble of the years I've stacked. Stagnation in my veins like a river to the dust. Toxic whispers in the wind, but I gotta rebuild. I must.